for me to be here today at this national level workshop on implementation of National Education Policy 2020 and higher education reforms in Odisha. This gathering is not merely a formal occasion, it is a timely and visionary step towards shaping a future-ready, knowledge-driven India. This initiative reflects our collective commitment to strengthening education as the foundation of national progress and human development. Ladies and gentlemen, India has always been a land of knowledge, wisdom, and intellectual leadership. Since the dawn of civilization, when many parts of the world were still grappling with basic survival, our nation had already embarked on a journey of intellectual enlightenment. We gifted the concept of zero to the world, pioneered advancements in astronomy, medicine, and mathematics, and created timeless literary treasures like the Vedas, Upanishads, and epics such as the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Even in our ancient texts, we find remarkable imagination and scientific temperament. The description of the Pushpaka Vimana in the Ramayana reflects a vision of aeroplane centuries before modern aviation. I think such examples are many in our epics. We have West Asia War. On the very first day, the missiles of US and Israel have directly hit the target and killed Khomeini of Iran, who is the supreme leader of Iran. We used to read the epics, Mahabharata and Ramayana. We know that there are some astras, Brahmastra, Vishnu Chakra, Pashupatastra, and in those days they used to say that if the astra is being used, it will find the enemy wherever he is and it will kill. Therefore, those astras resembles the present day of the guided missiles. But in those days, we don't know what is the scientific background behind astras. That is why we are not able to relink. Similarly, I can quote another one or two examples. The Rishis, Munis, who perform tapasya in Himalayas, they will be having a divine power to visualize the happenings anywhere on the earth with their Divya Shakti. But we don't know how it is possible in those days. Today, we are able to see, witness the cricket matches being played all over the world, wherever they play, while happily sitting in our drawing rooms and seeing the television. Therefore, their Divya Shakti is nothing but the satellite TV channels of today. Similarly, we know the story of Pravarakya. He used to apply some herbs on the sole of the foot, and he can fly wherever he wants to go. If that layer of apes goes, he will lose that power. That is the story of Pravalakya we have read. Why I am mentioning about this? When we are finding the scientific basis of some issues mentioned in our epics, which are having relevant scientific evidences for those things, I don't know, after 300 years or 400 years, we may be having that lehium to be applied on our foot, and we can fly and go to any place wherever we want. I don't know. Therefore, it creates an opinion in my mind that these epics are the real source of the identification of research issues. When they were mentioning that, instead of putting them aside like stories, if we have the power to analyze it and try to understand it, try to link to the scientific equations, whether it is possible to explain in a proper direction and find out some instruments which are being useful for the society in the coming days. Therefore, I have my opinion about these epics that they may be the source of the research topics for many of the subjects. Such examples remind us that the spirit of inquiry, innovation, and creativity has always been embedded in our civilization. Education for us was never just about acquiring knowledge. It was about creating a harmonious, balanced, and enlightened society. This rich legacy continues to inspire us even today. The knowledge economy demands not only information, but also critical thinking, creativity, adaptability, and interdisciplinary learning. However, the world we live in today is changing at an unprecedented pace. New disciplines such as artificial intelligence, data science, biotechnology, climate studies, and digital innovation are reshaping the global landscape. In this context, the National Education Policy 2020 emerges as a visionary and transformative framework. It rightly emphasizes moving away from rote learning towards critical thinking, experiential learning, and holistic development. It recognizes the need to bridge the gap between existing learning outcomes and future requirements, and aims to create an education system that is flexible, inclusive, and multidisciplinary, and aligned with the needs of the 21st century. It is important to recognize that the successful implementation of NEP 2020 is not just an educational reform. It is a foundational pillar for realizing the vision of Vikasit Odisha by 2036 and Vikasit Bharat by 2047. A strong, inclusive, and future-ready education system will be the driving force behind economic growth, social progress, and global leadership. NEP 2020 provides the roadmap harness the demographic dividend of our nation and transform it into a knowledge-driven powerhouse. I would like to commend the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, and the dedicated efforts of the Honorable Union Education Minister, Shri Dharmendra Pradhan ji, for bringing forward such a comprehensive and forward-looking policy that seeks to transform India into a global knowledge superpower. At the state level, I also take this opportunity to appreciate the proactive and committed leadership of the Honorable Chief Minister of Odisha, Shri Mohan Charan Majhi ji, and our Education Minister, Shri Suryavamshi Suraj ji, for taking concrete and decisive steps towards implementing NEP 2020 in the state. Odisha has demonstrated remarkable dedication by initiating the implementation of NEP from August 2024 and aligning curricula with multidisciplinary and skill-based frameworks. I can understand if you want to integrate skill training in the regular curricula, many of our higher educational institutes are not prepared for that. They don't have the facilities to give training in skills. Therefore, it is a Herculean task to find a way out how we can integrate skill training in our regular curriculum. The enactment of the Odisha Universities Amendment Act and the University Teacher Cadre Reservation Act reflects the state's commitment to transparency, accountability, and inclusive growth. The provision of reservation for socially and educationally backward communities has further strengthened equity in the society. The state has also made significant progress in promoting skill-based education and employability. Even though the higher educational institutes do not have any basic infrastructure for skill training, but Odisha is known for its skill development centers such as World Skill Center, Skill Development Institute set up by the oil marketing companies, and also some of the universities have very good skill development centers. We have to find a way out how we can expand this skill training to all other higher educational institutions. Collaborations with reputed organizations have enabled thousands of students to gain industry-relevant skills in emerging domains. Odisha's strong research ecosystem, supported by universities, centers of excellence, and innovation initiatives, is fostering a culture of creativity, entrepreneurship, and knowledge creation. Friends, the National Education Policy 2020 brings several key reforms in higher education that is both timely and transformative. It promotes multidisciplinary education, flexibility in subject choices, and integration of vocational and academic streams. It emphasizes research and innovation through initiatives like the National Research Foundation. It also calls for the use of technology, promotion of Indian languages, and creation of globally competitive institutions. Most importantly, NEP 2020 places strong emphasis on skill development, entrepreneurship, and employability. It recognizes that education must prepare our youth not just to seek jobs, but to create opportunities to innovate and to lead. By integrating vocational education, internships, and industry collaboration, the policy ensures that our students are equipped with practical knowledge and real-world skills. In 2020, the entire world, including our country, faced the COVID crisis. We are all aware how the COVID crisis have accelerated the development of digitalization processes. It gave a lot of opportunities. You heard one of the speeches in the parliament by some of the MPs. When people are talking about digitalization, they were mentioning that how India can embrace digitalization when people are illiterate, how they can operate computers or smartphones. Country is not having electricity, then how you think that digitalization will go on in this country? But the people of India, particularly the rural people, have proved that Indian people have the capacity to understand technology, to implement and to use it. And now we can find a small businessman on the roadside, they are displaying the QR codes for taking the money. Therefore, the opportunity given in the COVID crisis, people have embraced it, and now we can say that India is totally digital literate. It also offered a lot of opportunity for development of e-commerce platforms like Swiggy, like Zomato, Zepto, and many of the startups have become unicorns. We never imagined that we will get all our things to our house by somebody. For everything, we used to go out and purchase. But today, nobody is going out. They're all ordering online. This is the change we got in COVID times. Now also the country faces a crisis in the form of West Asia war. The major crisis we are facing is about the scarcity of crude oil, the scarcity of LPG, the scarcity of LNG, mainly petroleum products. Therefore, the West Asia war crisis also is going to give a lot of opportunities for India. Number one opportunity I find, everybody has to think nowadays how the dependence of India on crude can be reduced. Why we should depend on crude oil? Importing 85% of our requirements, spending about 22 lakh crores of rupees, foreign exchange. We are importing crude oil. I think today the opportunity available for everybody is to change all your fossil fuel run vehicles into EVs, electric vehicles. Then you can reduce this usage of crude oil. Then the question comes, when we use EVs, how about power supply? Power supply solution is you have abundant solar energy, you can switch over or generate solar power on your houses. Every house can become the generator of solar power by installing the rooftop structures. Honorable Prime Minister is a visionary and implementing a scheme. PM Suryagar Bijli Yojana. Under that, particularly in Odisha, you have a lot of opportunities because in addition to the subsidy given by Government of India, if you take for example 3 kilowatts rooftop solar, Government of India gives a subsidy of 78,000. In addition to the subsidy given by Government of India, Government of Odisha is providing 60,000 rupees subsidy for 3 kilowatt system. It is nowhere in the country, the state government giving such a subsidy. Therefore, I don't know how many people are using that and trying to install rooftop solar systems on their homes. My suggestion to all the universities, you have to adopt 1 or 2 or 3 villages in your area and explain, create awareness about having rooftop solar systems and motivate them to have 100% houses having solar power. I think nowadays universities cannot be away from what the society needs, what the country needs, what the government motivates and promotes. I think it is our responsibility to follow that. Any scheme that is being offered by the Government of India or Government of Odisha, my appeal to all the universities, please adopt some of the villages and some of the areas and see that those schemes are being implemented in those areas 100%. When Janadan account was announced, one university in Andhra, that is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar University, Srikakulam, they invited me for a program to explain about Janadan scheme. The social work department of that particular university has approached the people, motivated them, enlightened them, and opened 35,000 Janadan accounts in their area. 35,000. Therefore, whatever welfare schemes and the developmental schemes, social security schemes, when the government is implementing for the citizens, I feel the elite section, the enlightened section, well-aware section, educated section, universities and colleges have a role to play and see those schemes are successful. But so far, no universities are concentrating on this activity. Therefore, in this West Asia war crisis, my suggestion to everybody, of course, Odisha government has withdrawn 2 days back that the interest-free loans given to acquire electric vehicles. But otherwise, they used to extend interest-free loans for acquiring, for changing their vehicle, petrol, diesel to electric vehicle. Okay, interest subsidy is not there also, we can think about it. It is the time to adopt EVs. It is the time to generate power on our own. Government is taking so many actions. As you are reading in the newspapers, government has set a target of blending ethanol in petrol to 20%. The target is to complete it by 2030. But Honorable Prime Minister last year told, no, 2030 is very far. E20 ethanol blending must be achieved by 2025. Country has achieved E20 blending of the program in petroleum products. Now the government of India is thinking about E85, E100. Okay, they are taking their own steps to see how the crude dependence can be reduced on the country. If we have to be self-sufficient and self-reliant, when we are talking about Vikasit Bharat or Vikasit Odisha, unless we are self-reliant on everything, we cannot become Vikasit Odisha or Vikasit Bharat. Similarly, Honorable Prime Minister says that you should reduce 20% or 10% of edible oil usage in your kitchens. Primarily, he says that obesity is becoming a problem. To reduce that, you should reduce 10% usage of edible oil in your kitchens. He is advocating to reduce the oil usage for our health. But he is also having an idea, keeping the health of the country also. Reducing oil usage in the kitchens is healthy for our economy, because we are importing edible oils into the country to the tune of 1,75,000 crores. Crude edible oil and pulses. Being agricultural country, can't we produce edible oil like sunflower seed, palm oil, or groundnut, or mustard? So many crops we can grow. India can really achieve self-sufficiency in edible oil. We are implementing a program called the Palm Oil Mission. I think Odisha is also actively taking up and encouraging the farmers to go for palm oil cultivation in all the districts. Odisha is contributing its might to produce more edible oil. Therefore, my appeal to all universities to think about the issues of the country, to think about the policy frameworks of the country by different ministries. What we can take up, I won't say that you should adopt 100% of all the schemes. It is not possible also. What is relevant for you? Today, I saw in the newspapers there is a critical mineral recycling scheme. They have identified about 58 companies how critical minerals can be recycled. About 36,000 crore scheme is being announced today. 58 companies are identified. Subsidy is to be given. There is a quantum machine. Quantum mission, government is encouraging the universities to send their proposals for quantum algorithms. How we can motivate our students and staff for such type of activity. Therefore, my advice to all of you is not to confine yourselves to the curriculum prescribed for that particular course, but how the student power, student strength can be utilized to implement the government program schemes for the benefit of the public in and around us. This also should be our motive to devise the programs. I request you to consider that. As we move forward, it is essential that all stakeholders like government, academia, industry and society work together. That means how you can make society as a stakeholder into the universities. In a spirit of collaboration and shared responsibility. The success of NEP 2020 will depend not only on policy formulation, but on effective implementation at the grassroots level. Before I conclude, I would like to say that education is the most powerful tool for nation building. It shapes minds, builds character, and determines the destiny of a nation. Odisha, with its rich cultural heritage and progressive vision, is well poised to emerge as a leading hub of knowledge and innovation. Let us move forward with confidence, commitment, and a shared vision to build an education system that is inclusive, dynamic, and globally respected. Let us empower our youth to become not only skilled professionals, but also responsible citizens and visionary leaders. Together, let us strive to make India a true knowledge superpower. Thank you. Vande Utkala Janani. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your profound and inspiring address. We believe your words will resonate long after this workshop concludes, serving as a mandate for excellence. Thank you, sir, for your constant support in making Odisha a hub for quality higher education. Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, as we draw the curtains on the historic session, we must once again pay our respect to the nation. The spirit of Bande Mataram reminds us that our academic pursuits are ultimately for the service of motherland. I request everyone to rise, and I request the technical team to play the national anthem.
Kala